7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You crazy mother.
What is up, everybody? My name is Dane Thompson, and you're watching Burn Down. So today is just a really quick episode. I painted that tow truck, which you guys saw me do, and that chewed up majority of the weekend. I usually film on weekends because I work in here on cars and make a mess and paint things and do car stuff during the week. And then typically on weekends I try to work on my own stuff. Well, I had that tow truck, which was extracurricular activity, and I can't do this and that and work on my car because I'm only, unfortunately, one guy. I'm not a robot. Wish it was, but I'm not. So we worked on this, and then I spent what was it, last weekend or weekend before, prepping that because I forget when I got the tow truck. And then we shot it last weekend. I think I went Friday night over there and then through Friday, Saturday. Anyway, we got it done, but that left me with not a lot of time to play with my own parts. So it was Friday and Saturday. So Sunday, I had a bit of free time and I had to cut down the 9-inch rear end. So that's where I want to bring you guys in. I took all my stuff to my buddy Roy's shop, and he's over in Santa Fe Springs, pretty far away. When I got in the car, I was driving and I forgot my camera. And I was like, you know what? I just want to go over there and hang out with my friend Roy because I really enjoy his company. He's a good time. He's fun to listen to his stories and stuff. And then I wanted to be there, and he helped me cut the rear end down. So I didn't want to sit there and act like I was watching him do stuff and I'm trying to film and just be, you know, I just feel like that wouldn't be being a help to myself. And it's not disrespectful, but it's like, oh, hey, can you help me do stuff? Let me hold the camera and watch you do stuff for me. So I wanted to be present and part of it. So he has a nice big blanch ground table, so there's a big nice area that's flat and square so you can get measurements, so you know that when you're putting things together and chopping things, stuff's gonna go back together square. Over here, you guys see me set benches up. They're like work benches with pieces of plywood. I have one steel table. I think it's pretty true, but it's buried under a bunch of stuff because I don't have a lot of room here. And majority of the stuff I'd be doing with hand grinders, like you saw me do the bell housing on the transmission. So I figured in this instance, it was much better just to take it over there, use Roy's facility, have him help me do it. He's done a bunch of them. He's an old-time racer. And even though I've done 8.8s and I know I could do this, it's just a lot easier when you have somebody that's willing to give you a hand that actually has some experience and expertise in what it is they're doing. And even if they don't, and then you don't know what you're doing, at least you got a buddy and you're there and you guys are kind of hanging out, helping each other. So I opted for that. I did forget my camera, so I just want to fill you guys in and show you what I got. And we got another part. But first things first. So here is the rear end cut down. I even let Roy weld it. He asked me if I wanted to do it. I said, I don't care, Roy, you can have at it. So these were actually cut off, the tubes were shortened, and then there's a step. I don't know if you can't really see it, but I have a picture. And then they were smacked back in. We made sure they were square because we had the nice blanch ground table. We put the axle tubes up on pieces of steel. Actually, they were aluminum channel that are square. So we got those elevated so the pumpkin, so all the measurements were true. And we could basically roll it on this to make sure everything was square. And then just welded it in. I know people say that you need a jig and they're gonna be crooked and all kinds of stuff. I don't really care. And I say that we'll see what happens. So that leads me to, so now we are, what are we? We're 50, let me get a tape measure. We are, it's like 52 and something. Oh, come on. Stay. Yeah, it's like 52 and a half, roughly. And then by the time you put these guys in, this and then this, they bolt on. And then there's a bit of clearance for where this sticks out. It was like 53 1/4. So that might change a little bit because we have the backing plates for the brakes. And then Roy has a set of drum brakes on a different rear end, but I think they bolt onto this. And I was like, oh no, I got a friend that has some disc brakes. Well, I was talking to Roy again today, and then instead of bothering somebody else, he already offered the drum brakes. So I'm just gonna go drum brake. Then I can just run hard lines. I don't need the soft line jumpers, which is one less thing I'll have to buy or pay for because I can't make soft lines. If I run the drum brakes, I can just run a single steel line with a T and then one jumper, and I may be able to get away with the jumper that's on the car. because obviously it's already has drum brakes on the back. If I went disc, I have to have 3 soft lines because the disc caliper floats. So you don't go hard line, you go soft line because of the movement. So it will save me money. I believe that the drum brakes are free for my buddy Roy. And then I have all the hard line to make all that, I think, laying around, and fittings. So it just saves money, makes sense. And then I can convert to disc later on if I want to. It doesn't change anything other than, like you said, the soft lines and some mounting points. But I'm fine with drum. We're good. I only had to stop once. Gotta go fast and stop. We're good. Golden. So with that being said, that is a look with where we are at with this bad boy, which leads me to this guy. So I took my third member there because I wanted to show Roy and get his opinion. It's a war case, it's not a nodular. And everybody said, oh, you need nodular, you'll break the war case, blah, 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 they're junk. I'm like, it's got the extra rib, the thing will be cool, we'll see. So I had the back of the truck and I show Roy and I go to show him. And of course Roy goes, oh yeah, this is a war case, they always break right here. And he puts his finger literally on a crack. So the thing is cracked where the support bearing in the rear is. That's where they break. This one has to be broken. So that's why it was cheap to swap me. So thank you to the guy that sold it to me and didn't say anything. And I guarantee he knew it was broken. And then I debated just taking it back to the swap meet and then selling it, which I may do, but I'm not gonna sell it without telling the person that it has that crack, because that's bad karma. And even though it's 80 bucks, I will eat $80 in karma all day because it's not a very big amount. And then I'll just, maybe some guy can use it for the carrier or the gears or something else. So at least I'll get my money back, hopefully. But they will know that it is not a good piece, so that way I don't have people coming back and complaining or whatever. Because I am not a douchebag like the guy that sold this to me, granted, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? I went on the internet, started looking for nodular housings, and I'm like, oh, here we go, more expense, a bunch more money. Well, one popped up on Facebook Marketplace, bam! So here it is. I got the N, this is an N case, which is nodular. Flip it over. Booyah. So this thing is rock and roll. And if you're wondering where they break on here. There's usually a crack, a stress crack from the load, from this thing moving. If these bearings kind of get worn, or both bearings get worn, it gives it some play, and then they start hammering, and then that's where these things break. So my other case is actually broken in here. This one, you know, looking at it, is good. So we have a nodular housing now. I got a good deal on it. The guy was really cool. Gave it to me for 150 bucks just for the bare case. If I was to buy it new, it'd be anywhere from 250 to pretty much 300 from Curry. Although I don't really care for Curry all that much because a rear end they put together for me, they did not do a good job. So I would just as soon buy a different one from Speedway for less money anyway. But I found a good Ford used one, and that was cheaper than either option. So we'll just go that way. I don't see any cracks. I feel much better about this anyway. So I will take my spool. I've got a full rebuild and everything should fit in here. So now I think we are good. So as of yesterday, I'm like, where am I gonna get a case? Well, one day later, now I have a case. Now we're back in business. I got the housing cut down. So the next step is to actually cut everything and clean this rear end off, and then figure out where all the mounting points and positions are gonna go. So I'll probably have to get my car off the trailer and start measuring stuff with it in the car, and then transferring measurements and kind of getting a plan of attack for this. Although, the one thing is, this thing's pretty offset because of where the driveline rides, because of the pinion offset in this thing. So that'll be interesting, because you see a lot of these where the tabs are right in the center on the top. Well, that would put your driveline off to the side. So now, the way this is set up, I think my driveline will be center, but my axle actually looks offset. But that might make for odd tab placement, because if they land on the housing in different spots, they're gonna be different heights in order to be the same height or distance from the car, essentially. I'll show you guys when we get that far. That is my long-winded update. Sorry I didn't bring you guys along for cutting the housing down. I had a couple pictures I could share, so hopefully that kind of explained it and it just makes sense. But with that, there are lots of people that are gonna say you need the jig, you need a bunch of stuff, you need reinforcement. We're just gonna let it ride. I don't think this is gonna be the last round that the car sees, but I have a pretty small tire. We don't have a ton of horsepower. It's a turbo car. We are leaving on a trans brake. I don't know how violent it's gonna be, but probably not terrible. So we're gonna roll the dice and have some fun and see what we do. I think this thing will hold up just fine. And by the time we start breaking this, maybe we'll have other issues, or we can just upgrade one part. The big problem is upgrading multiple parts is just so expensive, and you guys know that if you build cars, it's like a snowball. You go from a transmission to a driveline to rear ends to yokes to U-joints. You're like, geez, man, all I wanted was a transmission that worked. Oh, converter, flex plate. That is my long bag of wind excuse why I didn't bring you guys along and show you how to cut this down and all that fun stuff. But at least I still made progress, even baby steps, because we got to get this thing done. I'm dying to go racing. So I hope you guys had a good one. Keep it locked. Like, subscribe, share, tell somebody. Tell your friends, tell your neighbor, tell your somebody. Just tell somebody. Would you? I'm out.